So hello everyone, I am Shira Cohen, the host of this podcast, which used to be called Yoga Therapy and now it's called Reclaiming Our Well-Being. So I'm the author of a book with the same title. I'm a yoga therapist, Ayurvedic wellness educator, emotional coach and mindfulness teacher. And I'm here to share stories, my own but also those of others, because listening to another story can change ours. So enjoy! So hello everyone, it's been a long time since I've done a video, so I'm kind of nervous. Look who's here, reclaiming our well-being. So I've called her Ro now, and she's my second daughter. I'm so happy. I picked her up last week, Thursday, and it was a grey, cold, rainy day, and I had to go to another city to pick her up at the customs office because she was coming from England. And I was really like, oh, I don't want to go there. But when I got there, I was so happy. I opened the box and she's like satin. It's really soft. The pages are like this beautiful cream color. It just looks and feels great. So I had to share it with everyone on the way home, and even the customs man, I had to tell him the story about the book and how long it took and how much I love it and how much it can change people's lives, basically. So the subtitle is now called Yoga Psychology for Emotional Development and Purpose through Ayurveda, Chakras, and the Goddesses. So I'm really happy. Like I got home and I was still touching the book and making sure she was still here with me. And in the morning, the same thing. I just wanted to look, is it still true? Is it really that good? Or was it just me in a good mood? So I'm really happy. Like, I don't know if you can see it very well. Yeah, you can. So the quality is this matte satin kind of feel. It's delicious. And even me, I've read this so many times, like going through the revisions and the editing and the proofreading. But then lying in my bed reading my book, I just got into it, and all of a sudden I was like 25 pages further, and I was like, oh, I've got to go to bed now. So it's also, how do you say that? Speaking from myself. I know it's my own book and I shouldn't be too proud or too vain, but it's well written. It's easy to read. I've gone over it 7 times in the end, so that people don't waste time. I know everyone's got very little time. So even though it's a thick book, it's like 330 pages. It's a lot of information, but it's also because I want you to understand everything. So you can skip the whole first part, the first 4 chapters, explain why the practices work. So the last 6 chapters are all practices. And then the 5th chapter explains all the different kinds of practices and how they affect which parts of our mind, body, emotions, psyche, soul. So all these different bodies that we have. So I talk about the 5 bodies, and I'll just show you one of the diagrams that's in there. So it does have some images, not that many, about 5 or 6, but it does have this image. Is something I made to look at the chakra as a connection point. So all the energy coming together and the different aspects of ourselves that we often don't realize are also taking part of every relationship, every interaction, everything that we do. And I'll read some of these bits of the book out. So the opening poem I'll read out. And this is what writing a book for 4 years has done to me. Now I need glasses. So I'm wearing glasses, otherwise I can't read. So I remember last year I was meant to meet someone, and I was trying to type, and I said, no, I've got to work on my book because my eyes are going funny and they only work the first few hours, and I just didn't realize I needed glasses. So now I have glasses. I can read for hours again. I can write. I can do all those things. So I'll read a few parts of the book now in this recording. And if you want to hear more, it'll be on the podcast. So I'm also making this into a podcast, but I'll just keep this short. Okay. So the poem is called Stepping into Our Beauty and Power. It's an invocation to Shakti, Mother of Beauty and Power. Ya Devi, Sarvabhuteshu Shakti Rupana Sanstita. Namastasye, 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 namo nama. So that's just the Sanskrit first part, but I've made my own poem after that. So, beloved, beautiful, brilliant, boundless, breathing mother, initiator, inspirator, and grace of all we encounter, embody, and embrace, of all we seek, fear, and must face, I invoke you on our journey of transformation. Awaken our potential power through emotion. Fill our bodies, minds, and souls with passion, honoring your sovereign knowledge as life in motion. I call upon your brilliance to shine bright, to guide us when we feel forsaken to the light. Carry us when we fear we can no longer stand nor fight. On this inspired journey of reclaiming our gift and birthright. You are the passage, destination, and ever-present feeling. Your music unravels and reweaves our path of healing, finding ourselves in a space that sends our hearts and souls reeling. We live, celebrate, and co-create a life full of rapture and meaning. Let us honor and be honored every hour. So we, Mother Shakti, finally flower, fearlessly step into our beauty and power, celebrating your being, our valley and spring shower. And we be who we were created to truly be, gorgeous, brilliant, and free. So I kind of think we're all feeling that at the moment. And yeah, it's what I've been feeling for a very long time, but I think we're all getting to this pinnacle or peak of that sentiment. Okay, now it's enough. Let's really get going and change what needs to be changed. So this is from the chapter of emotions, which is the second or third chapter, I believe. Let me see. So the first chapter is Yoga, Ayurveda, and Health. The second one is koshas. Yeah, the third one is emotions. Emote to live fully. So all this censorship is not helping us to emote, whether we emote even to ourselves or our family and loved ones, or just even in general public. You notice that people are really holding themselves in, and that's not just America, that's everywhere. And that's because of that social distancing. So I'm going to read a little bit called a subheading called Changing the Emotional Current. Or is it this I want to do? Hang on, there's so much I would like to read to you. Sorry. Yeah, okay. Changing the emotional current. Imagine how amazing we'd feel when we embody and express our deepest desires, our unique expression of love, power, and beauty, passionately living, breathing, enjoying, relating, communicating, creating, nourishing, and resting, liberated with enthusiasm and deliberation. How can we bring this to life? The exchange between inner and outer worlds creates an ebb and flow of life within us. Every sensation is a wave of body and mind meeting, matter and spirit merging in infinite forms, surrendering to the emotions as they arise. We rise to meet the tides, ride the waves, and harness the underlying energy, a return to wholeness from the biorhythms of being. Emotional awareness, literacy, and development retrains our brain, beliefs, and biology to become the creators of our experience. Beliefs, conscious or not, determine what we let into our lives. They also let the floodgates of emotion. They're also the floodgates of emotions. Saving energy disorganizes biology. Remember, life is about movement, change, and engagement. We are made to engage, to move, and change states. Engaging in work we love life. Life, like emotions, directs us if we don't direct them. We can channel and direct both through intentions, clarity, and specific actions. practice. Emotions tell us which practices are right for us. New pathways raise fear and anxiety, but can easily become excitement, exhilaration, or paralysis. Discerning what limits us, belief, thoughts, memories, or just emotion itself, we can catch the wave and change the current. Rewiring for transformation and growth through practice. Emotions tell us, sorry, I just read that. Emotions and beliefs affect the way we interact through our vibrational charge, influencing our physiology, energy levels, and psyche. Moving through potential, kinetic, electrical, and chemical energy states. This charge is more condensed in certain points, so the chakras and the mama points. Concentrated hormonal receptor sites are found in our gut, heart, and brain, the predominant chakra sites. The chakra system reflects the endocrine system, and every experience relates through these mind-body peripheries. The informational flow from these centers informs our cells and forms tissue through emotional fluctuations. Preverbal dynamics, or chronically repressed emotions, become issues in our physical tissues. Just as we manifest disease and issues, we can loosen solidified energy by releasing the buildup of beliefs, emotions, thoughts, reversing accumulation, aggravation, provocation, and even manifestation. Because we have to address the 5 bodies to reclaim well-being, yoga therapy uses both bottom-up and top-down approaches. And then I go to explain what bottom-up and top-down is, and then how the emotions bridge the different bodies, and so on and so forth. So if you want to hear more, I'm going over to my podcast. I'm ending this video here. So this is still from the first chapter. It's called Healing Society Through Community. So it's one of the subheadings. We're wired for a life of sharing, caring, and co-creating. Social species depend on closeness, intimacy, and community for survival. Distancing creates fear, disconnection, and distrust, driving stress, hypervigilance, anxiety, and therefore depression and chronic disease. Touch, connection, conversation, and sense of safety created by community are vital for mental well-being and physical health. Well-being is directly linked to community because physical, emotional, and social contact is essential to all aspects of health. One nerve particularly important for social interaction is the vagus nerve. It governs healing, health, and growth. Social life is crucial to our vagal health, and vagal tone is vital to healing and growth. The vagus nerve depends on cues of safety and trust and determines when we switch to rest, digest, and growth, or flight, fight, freeze activity. We can never do both at the same time. That is why real rest, i.e. relaxation, is just as important as real activity, i.e. raising the heart rate. The majority of humans are caring and kind. 2 million years of human history is only 1/720th of Earth's history. In that context, I think we're doing pretty well when we appreciate how complex we are, how complex life is, and how complex a society involving billions of beings, each with distinct desires, dreams, and hopes, is. Our focus needs to be on integrity of community, not scarcity and fragility. Vagal tone is a vagus nerve that easily and appropriately switches between rest and active, accessing somatic intelligence and our common inherent goodness. Sociability is our strength, and emotions are the glue that bond us. Social life is belonging. Isolation is punishment. Emotional belonging and holding isn't only essential for well-being, it's a prerequisite for life. Emotional connection releases oxytocin, the love drug. Without it, we wither away. The inhuman research on infants revealed withholding affectionate touch, emotional connection, and eye contact stunts growth, leads to intellectual disability and eventual death. We all yearn for love, hugs, hand-holding, and being held. That's why we're chocolate addicts. It releases oxytocin. Tantra sees the macrocosm as a reflection of our microcosm. So the world reflects our biopsychosocial situation. A society's undercurrent are perpetuated in and by the individual's internal dynamics. Transforming our world happens when we transform ourselves. Chronic imbalance leads to disruption and destruction. Chronic fear and distrust leads to denial, devastation, and debauchery. Excess tamas and rajas in society, politics, and commerce pollute our mind, bodies, souls, and our precious planet. Complex structures of psychological domination are seen played out in every sphere of human society. Government, business, and community are entangled when they should be independent bodies. Governments are financed by big pharma, while big tech is in bed with government. Business manipulates industries of food, pharma, and vitality, our health and existence, another extraction and profit model. Reductionism and patriarchy is scarcity mentality seeping into every aspect of living. We squander resources endlessly due to an unconscious conviction of being inherently incapable of healing naturally, nurturing intelligently, and co-creating coherently. Emphasis on our apparent inadequacy enables continual extraction of our attention and destruction of social connection and potential well-being. Extreme reductionism and the delusional subscription to simulated reality reveals the sad severity of emotional disconnection some individuals have endured and eventually embraced. So that's what we're seeing now. We're getting to that peak of this. Now, wishing the same limbic liberation for all of us. But do we really want that? I say we emote, we get messy and feel. Life has meaning in the context. Disconnection from the impermanence, I just had a fly in my nose. Disconnection from the impermanence and natural phases of birth, growth, and death is costing us our physical, social, political, environmental, and economic welfare. We're much more intelligent than we give ourselves credit for. Rejecting scarcity and the associated fear and inequality, our limbic brain is both a powerful free way to heal, grow, and co-create, and enable to manipulate and dominate. By slowing down to hear and heed the body, mind, and soul signals, we can reevaluate and regenerate in accordance with the needs of all life. Our abilities, resources, intelligence, and systemic structures all depend on us slowing down, not speeding up. Social life stimulates opportunities to grow, know, and learn, uplifting us. Social cues calm our nervous system, influencing our psycho-neuro-endoimmuno axis, the PNEI axis. Emotional connection gives significance and meaning, strengthening our will to live through love. Social support helps recovery. Emotional bonds teach us which parts of ourselves we have yet to accept, develop, and integrate. Connecting all aspects of self as a way to healing, we become part of the solution. Together, we are a mind-blowing work in progress. Imagine the consequences of neurological wiring, lifelong beliefs, and physiology that cultivates connection, growth, and natural interdependence. Imagine a society relating by being ready to face complex discrepancies, weaknesses, and strengths as shared pathways to creative solutions. Relationships are there to transform us. Growth opportunities to true common unity. Let's start to unravel the outgrown societal norms and step up and start living. So in the same chapter, just a few headings further, is a small subheading about trauma. And I like to call trauma a thread of hope, because it's actually our nervous system asking us to try again. It's saying, hey, maybe we have got different tools, or maybe we do have new relationships with people who can hold the space for us to disintegrate, to let go of our identity and rediscover ourselves in a new light. Okay, so I'll just read that, and then that's it. I'll read you a story every night from my book, okay? Okay. Everyone has had a traumatic event, and especially, this isn't in the book, but especially now, I mean, COVID regulation, not COVID so much itself, but the whole reaction by politicians and public health officials who had a lot of power has shown the corruption, the level of greed and fear that some people in power still can't seem to grapple with. And yeah, and this has caused trauma for millions, maybe billions of people. I would say billions, because it's really ruined a lot of lives. And not just in the West, especially people in poor countries. But luckily, their governments weren't bullied by WHO and all the rest, because they were bullying, let's be honest. Anyway, enough politics. Let's get on with the subheading of trauma, a thread of hope. Everyone has had a traumatic event. Trauma response, in truth, is a symbol of hope. A traumatic event is unacceptable to our deepest sense of self. The replaying of our stress response in similar situations attempts to reconcile and make right what we inherently know was wrong. So that's what we're all going through now. We know what happened was wrong, and now we're trying to bring the pieces of the puzzle together, and some of us are even struggling. What are the pieces, and is this the right puzzle, and have I got this wrong? Because it's so degenerate, it's so destructive and disgusting that some of us can't fathom the reality. The hope to heal what makes us feel unwhole. Because trauma makes us feel emotionally powerless and cut off, it undermines our belief in our deepest self. It severs our tie to others, making relational living a painful experience, which you see a lot of people now. This is not part of the book, but I see a lot of young people, and they're all struggling in social settings, because that's when you relate, and because there's this unspoken thing that's happened, and we don't have all the pieces of the puzzle, or a lot of people who are implicit in what's gone on don't want to show all the pieces of the puzzle. People are confused, and they know, we all know deep down, no one's stupid, we all know what's going on. So it's yeah, we've been deceived, and for what? Anyway, where was I? Our inability to attach meaning to the event projects our sense of self. And so that means we're not inside ourselves, and culls our motivation. So we're not motivated when we have no sense of self. We have no sense of agency when we don't know who we are, because the whole world seems a lie. So who are we? You know, if you don't know, yeah, if you can't speak the truth, and you have to censor your thoughts, your mouth, everything, then who are you? And then what is that world full of lies? So how's there any agency? There's none. That's the problem. Okay. And then how do we have motivation when we don't even have a self? So raising painful emotions to somehow remain in connection while we disassociate to protect identity. So this whole situation, you can see people are getting anxious and depression, because we want to keep connection. We want to stay connected. So is it better to be anxious and pretend we don't know, to not say anything? Is it better to go into a depression so we don't even look anxious, so people can't even see we're struggling? And that just protects our identity, but maybe the identity of others, because people don't want to see the truth. So then we disassociate, and that makes it even harder to heal. Disassociation moves memory and emotions to the unconscious. Each time similar emotions arise, the memory resurfaces. Because difficult emotions are unwelcome, we repress and further isolate ourselves, causing more physiological stress. Self-protecting from rejection wires us to become hypersensitive to disappointment, making disconnection the preferred option. So because we don't want to be disappointed, it's better just to go into depression or anxiety, to disconnect emotionally. We're not beyond repair. We can reconcile the rejected self when we're willing to stay with the difficult emotions and increase our window of tolerance. Trauma replays the act we couldn't escape in an attempt to repair. Pardon me. Reframing the story with our newfound friends, tools, and environment to re-establish integrity. There are two reasons why somatic modalities work where others fail. First, emotional and sensual neural messages travel at the same speed, using the same pathways to the brain. Somatic movement with mindful breathing and body awareness releases the unconscious emotions and neural motor planning to move through and out of the PNEI pathways without consciously triggering the trauma memory itself, because it has a different message. Second, breath, memory, and emotional brain centers are intimately intertwined, because both trauma and yoga are psychosomatic experiences. Applying yoga therapeutically rewires and releases PNEI patterns. Activating vagal tone allows us to switch from active to restorative, to feel and heal. Yoga, Tai Chi, dance, and other physical activities regulate our hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis, which is the HPA axis, affecting our entire endocrine system, increasing heart rate variability, autonomic nervous regulation, and balances emotional and psychological states. Trauma chronically stresses adrenal function. Adrenal insufficiency, also known as burnout, is associated with low blood pressure, anorexia, fibromyalgia, nausea, fatigue, weight loss, increased pigmentation of skin and mucous membranes, and depression. Chronic low-level stress and burnout are linked to autoimmunity, exhaustion, and in part responsible for diseases related to systemic inflammation. Overactive adrenals can cause Cushing's and Addison's disease, obesity, diabetes type 2, mental imbalances, high blood pressure, muscle weakness, osteoporosis, irregular periods, failure to grow in children, and failure to heal wounds. Adrenal health is therefore crucial to health, well-being, healing, stress resilience, and calm. Heart rate variability and vagal tone depend on adrenal health too. Breathing and heart rate coherence equals resilience. Building resilience is the foundation for trauma healing. Trauma needs to be validated for us to grow from it. When working with trauma, go slow, soft, and steady, so as to not reinforce patterns or re-experience the emotions, memories, and associated perceptions. These are all a route to release by restoring connection and a sense of control after trauma. Re-establishing the link between individual and community through social and emotional connections using vagal activity, mirror neurons. So when we're looking at someone, we use our mirror neurons, and affectionate physical touch and eye contact. The most vital points, turning points of being human are in our relating. Building new relations to empowering feelings, we dare to explore a little further. We learn to undo the knots of the past and unravel painful memories and emotions. Trauma growth means we learn to finally give the best of what we missed, needed, and lacked to ourselves, each time a little more nuanced, honest, conscious, and intimate. Moving into safer experiences of sensory cues, strengthening our sense of self and resilience. each generation improving upon our inherited journey. Untangled, we no longer seek disappointment or danger. Instead, we recognize, accept, identify, and nurture a new report, a new relationship to self, life, and other. Our memories, images, sensations, and beliefs return to a Morpheus energy, an emotional growth stance of energetic currency, widening the horizon of healing emotions through self-compassion leads to more tolerance, self-discovery, and eventual self-love. One day we turn around and we see we're actually free from our past. So there you go. That is a lot of reading for you today, and I'm going to stop here. So the book is on sale in all online bookstores, even some retail bookstores. Not yet. It'll take 6 to 8 weeks from last week. So that was the 8th it was published. But it takes a while before it actually comes into even the online stores, even though they press it there themselves and print it themselves. So it's 30 euros. I've made it 30 euros. I don't know why some sites are saying it's more expensive, maybe because the data hasn't come through yet. So just hold your horses maybe before ordering if it's more expensive. I've seen in Amazon and what's it called? Booktopia, no. Barnes and Nobles, and on ball.com, which is in Europe, it's 30 euros. But I saw in Australia it's very expensive, in the UK it's still expensive. So maybe just wait a while. And yeah, if you're in Den Haag, I'll be selling them live. So you can just call me or email me, send me a text, and we can meet up and I can bring the book around, or we can have tea somewhere, make it a celebration, because that's what I want to do. I'm sick of being sad and pissed off with the world. I want to celebrate. There's enough good stuff to celebrate. I think we all need to start focusing on that and not listen to all the bullshit that's being propagated. Excuse my language, excuse my French. Huh? But yes, I can take my glasses off. There we go. And I don't know what else to say. Yeah, enjoy the book. I hope you love it. Please, if you do read it and enjoy it, leave stars and reviews. If you don't know where, just send them to me and I'll put them up, or where you bought it from. If you buy it online, please, that really helps to promote the book and to keep it on the list, that it's visible to other people who are not actually coming to look for that book, but they're looking for that same genre. So that'd be really great. I can use every bit of help, and I really do believe that this book has the potential to. So I have to put my glasses back on. I've written it on the back, so it says, this guides you to understand how emotions inform body and mind. You learn to self-regulate your health and energy. You feel emotionally alive again. That's really important to me, because that's where you find that passion, you find the power, and you find this purpose. And that's what's going to create the change we're all looking for. If everyone's apathetic, we can't do anything. To be psychologically autonomous, because once you start to emote and feel strong and connected to those emotions and allow them, that is your inner truth. They're your soul messages, the depths of yourself saying what's right and wrong. And then rediscover purpose and passion. So I just said that, reclaiming authenticity and freedom, and transforming how you relate. Because when you work with your emotions, don't just manage them, don't just be emotionally intelligent. So there's a big difference between emotional intelligence, which is going, okay, I feel this, and how can I go about it? Rather than going, okay, I feel this, what is it? And why am I reacting towards that person? And what does my subjective intelligence of the body mind telling me? And to use that energy, because there's a lot of power in that energy. And we don't need to sublimate it. We don't need to manage the emotion and just put it to the side, because even if we do that, it leads to physiological stress, which it can take decades. Maybe after 20 years, you're going to have a heart attack or something, but it does form and inform those tissues, because those issues have an emotional charge, an energetic, electrical, chemical charge, which affect every bit of your body. So the body mind, there's no differentiation. You have enough psychological stress and trauma, you will develop physical disease. It's proven many times over. So it's also through understanding and working with them that we're going to return and rewind that whole thing. Anyway, enough of me talking about emotions. Hopefully I'll stop now. You'll never hear a word of emotions coming out of my mouth. I doubt it, but okay. Anyway, wishing you all well. Have a lovely week, month. I don't know when I'm on next. I haven't got any guests planned. I've been really busy just working and getting the book out and seeing people one-on-one. So I'm really enjoying my life, and I'm loving my life because I love my work. So I feel very blessed. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for being enthusiastic about the books. I've had a lot of wonderful shout outs and emails already, so I'm very grateful. Much love to you.